what is the future for us? Our vaccination rate remains low. We have had the blessing of having our infection rate going right down. I think a couple of days ago, for the first time, it was under 60 persons tested. Can we hope that we can go through the December, January months with these infection rates? I believe the scientists are saying no, and that we should expect some spike. I say all of this to say, for persons who are saying they are not getting vaccinated because they are waiting, no better time than now to go and get your vaccination. The sites are open. I believe that there is no crush at the sites, no long waiting time. So please go and get vaccinated, those who are going for the first time. I also believe that there is a choice of vaccine. Go and get vaccinated. If you have your second vaccine to take, go and get it. Because you are waiting, it might be too late. So that is my appeal to persons who choose to listen to what I have to say. Statements by ministers, announcements, bills brought from...
Laid on the table today is a copy of the Senate Regulations report on its deliberation on the Legal Aid Amendment Regulations 2021, dated November 23rd, 2021.
Bills brought from the Honorable House of Representatives, petitions, papers, reports from committees.
Mr. President, I beg to lay on the table of the Senate a copy of the report of the Regulations Committee of the Senate on the Legal Aid Amendment Regulations 2021, dated November 23, 2021.
Thank you, Senator Bram. Notices of motions given orally.
Mr. President, I beg to give notice that at the next meeting of the Senate, I will move the following motion. Be it resolved that the report of the Regulations Committee of the Senate on the Legal Aid Amendment Regulations 2021, dated November 23, 2021, which was laid on the table of the Senate on the 26th day of November 2021, be approved. Mr. President, I further beg to give notice that at a later stage today, I will move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take this motion, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Bram. Questions and answers to questions. Motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice. Motions relating to the sitting of the Senate. Motions for leave to introduce bills. The presentation of bills without the leave of the Senate first obtained. Public business.
Mr. President, I now move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take the motion, notice of which I gave earlier.
Members would have heard the question. Those in favor?
Before you put it to the vote, President, is this the motion to take the... motion to take. Not, all right, I'll wait on that.
Okay, members would have heard the question. That is to say that the standing order will be suspended in order for Senator Bram to take the motion. Those in favor? Against?
The motion, Mr. President, and the regulations and the report of the committee, those documents are before members, and you will see, Mr. President, that it is designed to increase the fees that are paid to attorneys who have agreed to do legal aid assignment in relation to criminal trials. and those were approved in committee, Mr. President, and they are laid before the Senate, and I'll ask that they be approved.
Thank you. I think Senator Brown wanted to say something.
That's correct, President. And I think the leader, the acting leader, also. President, we support the regulations. But I'd love to have seen us take it to a point where in some civil cases, not just criminal cases, the poor litigant could get some support. Very importantly, Mr. President, my support for this regulation is because I believe that legal aid in our democracy is akin to dissent. And I can find no better voice expressing dissent and the importance of dissent, which is why I support the legal aid regulation as is, than the Chief Justice in the NITS case, where he said, and this is how I treat the importance of legal. He said, dissent has a troubled history. The word dissident has often been a pejorative term. Dissenters have rarely been welcomed and are frequently viewed with suspicion, not only by the dominant power, but also by the majoritarian opinion. And yet in a democracy, dissent is essential. It is indispensable to our freedom. In fact, it is one of the authentic voices of our freedom. Part in times of exception, in wars, declared or undeclared, or when the freedom of the citizen is at stake, and particularly when the state itself seeks to curtail fundamental freedoms in the name of national security or economic development or whatever other perceived end. Mr. President, I support the regulation because, like dissent, it is important. And as a dissenter, yesterday, I felt I was doing my duty to our democracy. And it matters not if I am elected
Senator
or
Brown,
unelected.
Senator Brown, Senator Brown.
I support the regulation.
Thank you,
May it please you, Mr. President.
Senator, thank you, Senator Brown. Senator Scott-Mottley.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I be
seat.
permitted
Absolutely.
to speak from a seat which does not belong to me? Mr. President, I support the amendments. The legal aid is greatly underfunded, and many attorneys who do it as an act of duty and do it as a contribution to their country. Ironically, yesterday we were having a discussion as to Senate fees way back when, fees for salaries for parliamentary secretaries and ministers of state, and the legal aid fee came up. We recalled it was about $500. So that many attorneys didn't even bother to send in a bill at the end of the day, because the time spent in preparation of the bill was more valuable than the money that you would get. Mr. President, I understand what has caused this amendment to the regulations, and I sympathize with all the attorneys who are losing so much time from their practice. This sum, which is 15 to 25%, they say, of what lawyers in private practice at a criminal bar earns, is, in my view, just, I don't want to use the word paltry, but it really is a small amount. And so in approving the regulations, in agreeing with them, supporting them, I still say that the entire legal aid framework needs some adjustment. It needs to be looked at so that when persons are assigned to cases, it is not just something on the side, that they can devote the best quality of their experience to whatever case it is at hand. And you know, Mr. President, how demanding criminal cases are. There are some of us who don't sleep at all when we are involved in a, in a major matter. There are some who can sleep, nonetheless. But there are some who are so engaged in the case that for the months that it lasts, that is their major preoccupation. Mr. President, if at all possible, we must revisit this legislation and see how we can do a complete overhaul, if it pleases you.
Thank you, Senator Scott-Mottley. You know, of course, that there is a philosophy which is really predominant in the United Kingdom, where it is felt that if the state has charged you for a criminal offense, they ought to pay for your defense. So most of the work, criminal work that is done in the United Kingdom now is done on a legal aid certificate, but I suspect that is a matter of resources. Senator Braham?
President, by way of brief response, I believe that the Ministry and the Minister of Justice has undertaken to keep the figures under constant review. And it is because of that review and a particular case why these figures have been improved. I believe that in short order, we will be back putting forward somewhat better figures, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Braham.
One other thing, Mr. President, I think that I am happy to say that we are permitting dissent, even if it is through this method. And what happened yesterday, that dissent was never under any threat in the Senate or elsewhere. Mr. President, I then ask you that the motion and question be put.
Members should have heard the question and the debate. Those in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Against? Leader?
Morning, Mr. President. Thank you. Just to express my understanding that the opposition, there have been some discussions recognizing that this weekend is the Jamaica Labour Party's party conference, and that it is the convention that Senate not sit the Friday before a conference on either side, and that although some efforts had been made to try to catch up with the State of the Nation debates, that we will in fact postpone the rest of the agenda. We will not continue with the debates today, and it is therefore not intended to do any further business today. And we ask, therefore, that the Senate be adjourned for a date to be fixed.
Mr. President, may I be permitted to extend to my colleagues on that side my best wishes for a good conference. I see where you have put a lot of COVID-19 protection in place, and that you're only allowing 10 persons to gather at different venues. The Minister Desmond Mackenzie made that remark yesterday. It is an important time for you to have a conference and to demonstrate to the country that it can be done differently from how we are accustomed to do it. And I sincerely hope for you that it will be a successful conference, that you will have the kind of participation that you anticipate. So good luck, all the best. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much all. Thank you, Senator Scott-Mottley. Thank you, Minister Johnson-Smith. It is not proposed to do any other business, I understand. The question is that the Senate be adjourned for a date to be fixed. All in favor? Against? This Honourable Senate now stands adjourned.
Hi, Doc. I've got some questions about